HBCU schools in the NCAA Women's Tournament. The other is Norfolk State. First game for USC is Saturday at noon at the Galen Center against North Carolina Greensboro. UCLA also has a team in the NCAA men's basketball tournament. The Bruins, a number 7 seed in the Midwest Regional, play Utah State Thursday night in Lexington, Kentucky. The Lakers snapped their 4-game losing streak Sunday. They beat Phoenix 106-97. The Clippers are 6-1 in their last 7 games after beating Charlotte 123-88, 31 points and 7 assists for James Harden. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, this is Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, and for over 20 years, Parkside Economic Development Corporation has served Leimert Park and surrounding communities, empowering tomorrow's leaders and changing lives. Parkside EDC has awarded over $400,000 in college scholarships while sharing economic principles of the Big Five of money with students and their families. Parkside EDC partners with organizations like the Brotherhood Crusade to assure our youth have the financial acumen to succeed. Parkside EDC provides families and businesses with financial insights, offering free online, on-site, and on-air B-Warp presentations. The Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Programs helps our community acquire, sustain, and pass down legacy wealth. High school seniors can apply for this year's scholarship awards at parksideedc.org. Scholarships will be awarded at Parkside EDC's Gospel/Jazz Brunch on Sunday, April the 27th. For details, tickets, or donations, please visit parksideedc.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
1, 2, 3, 4. You see that black boy over there running scared, his old man in a bottle. He done quit his 9 to 5, he drank full time, and now he's living in a bottle. See that black boy over there running scared, his old man got a problem.
I'm Tavis, Smiley. Welcome to Hour 2 of our program today. In this Hour 2 conversations on the B side, we'll be joined by Congresswoman Janelle Bynum for a conversation about her journey to becoming Oregon's first black member of Congress. And, of course, we will take her temperature on this intra-party fight. The Democrats have a problem. We are witnessing this fractured opposition to President Trump. In case you missed our first hour, it was a spirited conversation about Chuck Schumer and the mistake that I believe, many other people believe he made with that 180 on Friday. We'll take Ruben's temperature on that in just a second. But I look forward to talking to Congresswoman Janelle Bynum, the first black member of Congress from Oregon, on the B side of this hour. We commenced this hour with our regular contributor, Ruben Navarrete Jr., talking about his latest column wherein he argues that Columbia University protester Mahmoud Khalil earned his legal troubles. Needless to say, I love Ruben, but I call nonsense on that argument, Ruben. But I want to hear what you have to say in a moment anyway. Ruben, how are you, sir? Ruben, can you hear me now? Is your mute button on? Take your mute button off if it is.
Yes, sir. My brother.
There
Thank you so much for having me on. It's supposed to be with you again.
No, it's good to hear your voice. I was saying to my team here in a moment ago before you came on that you picked the wrong day, man. You picked the wrong day to make this argument that Mahmoud Khalil earned his legal trouble. I'll let you unpack that in just a second. But it's important to understand the frame that we are in. I mean, you and I talk about immigration more than anybody else on this program. And here's Donald Trump defying the courts and deporting people rather, deporting immigrants, defying courts, defending that today by saying the courts have no jurisdiction over how he moves in these spaces. I mean, it's a bizarre moment to see the president of the United States just outright defying courts, and here you come arguing that Khalil earned his legal trouble. Tell me more.
Yeah, so there's three different categories here. You have to think about the president's immigration actions in three different ways. One is it's the good, bad, and the ugly. You know, he should not be, for instance, hassling people. ICE should not be hassling people as they're coming back from other countries. They're H-1B visa holders, they're academics, they're professors and others who've been to other countries to visit family. They've got all their documents in order, and they're being hassled in terms of being able to come into the country.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's unacceptable. That should not happen. That's one thing. The second thing is regarding what happened with the Venezuelan, these accused gang members, Tren de Agua, who, let's be clear, like every immigrant gang out there, they terrorize other immigrants. They are not terrorizing white folks in the suburbs. They're not terrorizing federal judges' neighborhoods. They're terrorizing Venezuelan immigrants using rape and murder and intimidation to get their way. And to see them, as I did and you did in these videos, being shackled, walked through this detention facility in El Salvador, their heads shaved, gave me great satisfaction. As the son of a cop, a retired cop, and someone who doesn't like people who are bullies and prey on other people, I say this. I say you're not going to see any Democrat anywhere in the country today speaking out against what you saw in that video and going to bat for these alleged gang members. And I think you're going to see 80% of Americans saying they support this action, unless you poll the Venezuelans, and then you're going to get 100% supporting the action. Okay? So that's that. So that's the second category. But in terms of this third category, with regard to what happened to this graduate of Columbia, Mahmoud Kahil, who, as I said, earned his troubles because of the outspoken role he took in the protests at Columbia, you have to have a very clear understanding of what happened and a recollection of what happened during those protests. The fact that Jewish students were harassed, were intimidated. The protesters declared Zionist-free zones. You can't walk through here. You can't go to class. Jewish kids locked up in their dormitories. Jewish kids actually told in some of these campuses and in Columbia, it's probably best that you stay in your room and not go to class to avoid confrontation with the protesters. And ultimately, the fact that he was the lead negotiator in this, the media and others have tried to spin, oh, he was just a protester. He held up a sign. This is really about the First Amendment. I call BS on that. I've been involved in enough of these protests as a student when I was a student to know that you don't get nominated to be and chosen by your classmates to be the head negotiator with the university unless you've been a major player. And he is a major player in organizing this protest. So he stuck his neck out and he said, drew attention to himself, and he's learning a lesson, which is we should believe in this country that actions have consequences. And I said that when Donald Trump pardoned the January 6th protesters. I said we need to make sure actions have consequences. Well, now here we are again. His actions on that day had consequences, and one of the consequences is under, as you know, the Immigration and Nationality Act back in 1952, that the fact that the Secretary of State, no matter who it is, has the power to unilaterally deny a green card or a visa to people like this who are deemed undesirables or a threat to the country. And as Marco Rubio pointed out, he gets a visa based on these false pretenses because he never said when I applied for the visa, I'm going to be engaged in these kinds of activities. Make no mistake, at Columbia, they were against the Jews and they were speaking out against Israel and in favor of Hamas. Go back and look at the X tapes. Go back and go look at the television clips. It's clear. You can hear them in their own words saying, I love Hamas, bravo for Hamas, Hamas, come to the United States, we need you here to kill Jews here. I mean, come on, as they say in Texas, I may have been born at night, but I wasn't born last night, okay? This guy was not some guy holding a sign. Those protests at Columbia were disgusting and un-American, and he's being held accountable to it. Welcome to America, pal. This is how we roll here.
Yep. So Ruben's my dear brother and my friend, and I disagree with pretty much everything he just said, almost everything he just said. I'll tell you why when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Can you dig it? Come on!
Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer lets you easily compare direct rates from different insurance companies, so you can be confident you're getting the right one, even if it's not with Progressive. Way more confident than you were when you bought that TV in a parking lot. It just happened to not come in a box or include a remote. And when you finally managed to turn it on, all it displayed was the menu of Grumpy's Tacos. So use Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer and be confident you're getting insurance that's right for you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
Slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppables, you just toss, wash, wow, for all-day freshness.
More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Ruben Navarrete Jr. Okay, where to start? Ruben laid out a lot there, and I didn't want to interrupt him. Let me spend the next 20 minutes or so here with Ruben, sort of unpacking this as best I can. So I think I want to start here. I wrote a book some years ago called Fail Up. And it was a book about 20 of the worst mistakes I've ever made in my career. It was celebrating my 20th anniversary in the business, and the publishers wanted me to write a book telling 20 great stories about my career. I said, no, let's go the other direction. How about I tell the 20 stories about the 20 worst mistakes I've made in my career and the lessons I learned from those mistakes. One of those chapters, which I don't have time to get into right now, is called Even When You're Justified, You Have to Remain Dignified. I tell the story of a huge mistake I made. And even though I was justified in that moment, my behavior was not dignified. I start with that because even if you think that you are right, Donald Trump, you cannot move in violation of the rule of law. Even if you're justified, you cannot move in violation of the rule of law. So Ruben goes long, I didn't interrupt him, on all the reasons why this plane load of Venezuelans is something we ought to celebrate. He's happy to see them walking through the prisons in their chains. Ruben, to do that, he violated the court. He violated the rule of law. So even if he's justified in that, you're the one who has the father who's a retired police officer. Your father wouldn't tolerate people violating the rule of law. Your father, who you invoked, who I love dearly. So tell me how do you explain, how do you justify Donald Trump doing what he did, even if you think he did the right thing, even if he thinks he did the right thing, but he violates the rule of law in doing it, Ruben? That's the point you're missing, my friend.
Okay, so I appreciate that. So a couple of weeks ago when Donald Trump did actually defy a judge's order, the judge in Rhode Island, I think you and I spoke about it on this show,
right?
Where the judge had asked him basically to stop these he's lost a couple of battles, but he's lost a battle over government spending, over USAID, and the judge told him you need to basically stop these cuts, and he defied the order. That's a legitimate defying of a court order by a judge, and I criticized him for it. And it's really important that we have these three chambers of government, these three branches of government. But what happened in this case, there's some gray area because what the administration is saying, and I think it's legally credible, does a federal order by a federal judge apply when the people have already been on the plane, when they've left U.S. airspace, when they're in a foreign country? Basically, that is not binding. And so there's gray area there for the lawyers to fight it out. And you know this as well as I do. We don't really have firm laws in this country. We have lawyers on both sides who argue what the law is. And then judges decide based on the arguments what the law is and what the law says. So in this case, I'm just saying it's not as cut and dried as what happened in Rhode Island. Let me be clear. As I said on your show before, if it's going to be a face-off between the federal judges and Donald Trump, I'm going to take the side of the federal judges every single day. In this particular case, though, that order, they were smart enough to get those Venezuelans up in the air and away from U.S. airspace before this order came down. So that's their argument.
Yeah, I've not seen that data yet. There are to your point, there are questions being raised about whether that plane was out of U.S. airspace. What are you reading that suggests that it was already out of U.S. airspace? I haven't seen that as yet.
Okay, so yeah, you might look at this morning, the intake that I normally get through CBS this morning,
right.
CNN this morning on Wolf Blitzer on the Situation Room, and then I listened to. I'm not sure where I heard it. Okay.
Sure. I got
NPR up first, which I always listen to in the morning, and then also lastly the Daily, the New York Times. So somebody told me that this morning.
I'm only raising that question because the ACLU has filed a lawsuit. They filed it late last night, asking questions about what the president knew. Put another way, what the administration knew and when they knew it. So as I sit here at this moment, I cannot confirm. I have no data suggesting to me that we know the answers to all these questions at the moment.
And I'll tell you what, it gets even more confusing for me because I have followed the ACLU very, very closely. If there's one organization out there that I want to applaud for how they've dealt with immigration, it's the ACLU. They sued Barack Obama. They sued Joe Biden.
They did.
They sued Donald Trump. God bless the ACLU on immigration. There's a guy, I know you've had him on your show, and if you haven't, you should, Legal Art in New York City, who handles the Immigrant Rights Project for the ACLU, is as consistent as the day is long. You know, he's a good lawyer, and he fights these fights, okay? But what I'm struggling with, I go back to what I said before. In terms of those Venezuelans who are being terrorized by this Venezuelan gang, I was not heartbroken when I saw them walking off in chains stuck in El Salvador.
Yeah, but Venezuela
didn't want them. We were going to deport them to Venezuela, but Venezuela didn't want them. Does that mean that we're stuck with them here?
But here's where your argument rests on pudding, Ruben. Here's where your argument rests on pudding.
Okay.
The professor at Brown University is not a Venezuelan gang member. Mahmoud Khalil is not a Venezuelan gang member.
That's why I broke it into three categories. Brother, that's why I broke it at the very beginning. The first thing I said to you was, we can't just say, this is Trump and immigration. We have to go case by case.
Fair enough.
And with regard to the professor at Brown University, Trump is wrong.
Yeah.
With regard to Mohammed Khalid, I say he's right. With regard to the Venezuelan gangsters, I say he's right. I'll tell you what, you're not going to find, again, a lot of Democrats sticking their neck out, members of your audience, your progressive audience, black folks in L.A. saying, yeah, you know what, I want to spend some capital today defending this Venezuelan gang, and these gangsters who terrorize people, who kill people, who murder people, who rape people, who terrorize other Venezuelans.
When Donald Trump puts a bunch of Mexicans on a plane in violation of a court order and sends them back to Mexico, what you going to say then?
Probably the same thing. I mean, I'll tell you what, if in fact you have Mexican gangs, and you do have Mexican gangs, and likewise they're terrorizing, guess who? They're not terrorizing whites in the suburbs.
No, not gang members, law-abiding, tax-paying, everyday people of Mexican descent. When Trump puts them on a plane in violation of a court order using this same Alien Enemies Act to send them out, even though a court says don't do it, what will you come on this program and say then?
I will say this, and I've been you do a Google search, you'll see that I've been in favor of deporting people who are in this country illegally forever. Okay, you just cannot, I think, live in a place where you say immigration law doesn't apply. I'm not for an open border. I've said this for 30 years.
Right.
Do a Google search. It's a matter of public record. Okay.
Yep.
So I'm always about them deporting people fairly according to the rules. But if you're a Mexican, as a Mexican American, if you're a Mexican and you're in this country illegally, you're deportable. End of story.
What's your POV on the birthright citizen issue?
So you and I have spoken about this, I think, on the last show. The birthright citizenship issue is, it's a matter of law. It's part of the 14th Amendment. He's on very thin ice. The lawyers all say he's on thin ice. A lot of people on the immigration side, the anti-immigration side, have never gone anywhere near this because of that. And I think that it's a weak argument to say, for instance, that this was not put there for them. As I said before on your show, I've had this conversation with African-American audiences before, where I said there's a whole host of things that were not put there for you all. Like the First Amendment wasn't put there for black folks. Black folks were seen as property when the First Amendment was enacted, right? But that doesn't stop African-Americans from using during the Civil Rights Movement, the First Amendment. Because once it's on the books, everybody gets to use it.
Okay. As you know, this is a really smart audience, and they just heard you say what I heard you say. And it sounds like the dots aren't connecting. Let me come at you this way. Sure. I thought I heard you say a moment ago, my friend and my brother, that you are for deporting anybody who came here illegally. But if they came here illegally and then had a baby here, you're okay with the baby staying. Square those arguments, and that baby becoming a U.S. citizen. But they're here illegally. Square those two arguments, Ruben.
Because there's no need to square it. The baby is a separate person, a separate human being from the parents. The fact is the baby was born on U.S. soil. Because the baby was born on U.S. soil, the law says that person under the 14th Amendment is a U.S. citizen. It's always been that way. Legal challenges haven't been successful. It's just I don't understand. I'm kind of confused. I don't understand how it is that you're able to take two human beings, blend them together, and say that because the mother and father are undocumented, therefore that kid shouldn't have U.S. citizenship.
Let me try it this way. And I'm only
human beings.
I got it. Let me try it this way, only because I'm pressing back on your argument. I just think there's an inconsistency in the argument that you're making. You can't tell me that you are for deporting anybody, including your own people, who are here illegally, but then tell me if they get here and have a baby, then the baby is okay. Here's my point. Let me quote my grandmother, Big Mama. Big Mama would put it this way, Ruben, if she were in this conversation. You can't start out wrong and end up right. You can't start out wrong and end up right, but that's your argument.
So behind door number 2, if I don't take this argument the way it is, then I basically have to say that I'm for an open border. You've known me for more than 30 years. You know that if you want to find an open border Mexican, I will show you open border Mexicans. We'll go down to UCLA, maybe the Chicano Studies Department. I'll show you an open border Mexican. And they will tell you things like no human being is illegal. Right. Okay? That ain't me. That ain't me. It's never been me. I'm not an open border Mexican. I'm the son of a cop, the grandson of a legal immigrant. People ought to come legally. If you don't come legally, you get deported. That's me. That's always been me. So
right? what about?
I'm not gonna not be me. I'm not gonna turn around and become an open border guy. And likewise, I'm somebody who supports the 14th Amendment. Who thinks that people who are born in this country should not have their citizenship revoked or denied because they should be punished for their parents' sins.
I still hear a discrepancy. What about this argument? There's another bucket that you haven't tapped into yet. Another door, to use your metaphor. If you come here illegally, and I'm just trying to help you square your own argument. If you come here,
I'm good. Thank you.
I know you don't need. I know you don't need my help, but I'm offering it to you anyway. And I ain't charging you for it. This is free. This is a free service. This is a free service. If you come here illegally,
yes, sir,
and you have a baby here, and your argument is that anybody here illegally ought to be deported, we deport you and your baby. Both of y'all got to go.
No, you deport the mother. You can't deport the baby. Now, the mother's going to take the baby with her. That's up to her. But there are some people in the Trump administration who are trying to play this dirty by saying somehow that you're going to deport the whole family to keep the family intact. You don't have any jurisdiction to deport that baby. That baby is a U.S. citizen.
Yeah.
If the mom says, well, I got to go, so I'm taking the baby with me, that's up to the mother. I get that.
Yeah, I get it.
And I also don't believe in the myth of an anchor baby. I don't believe there's any such thing of a quote anchor baby, where a baby is born in this country and somehow because of that the family gets to stay. There are thousands and thousands of cases where everybody got deported.
I hear your argument.
That's no anchor. That anchor is made of cotton candy. There's no anchor there.
I hear your argument. I still think I think it's incongruent. There's an incongruence there. I'll leave it alone. But I just don't believe you can be as 100% as absolute as you are about deporting anybody who comes here illegally, but then, pardon the pun, split the baby and then argue that the baby is okay. I digress for now. It's worth underscoring that the judge, by the way, the judge in this case who made this ruling that Donald Trump couldn't deport these Venezuelans happens to be a George Bush appointee. That's worth underscoring. And I raise that because as Donald Trump continues to defy these courts, you're now starting to see some example, Ruben, of judges appointed by Republicans who are saying you've gone too far, Donald Trump. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means when all this stuff gets to the Supreme Court. But some of these Republican appointed judges, they ain't having it, Ruben.
I love it, and we need it because we need to have a viable third branch, okay? There are a lot of people 3-4 weeks ago who thought the judges were going to roll over. The judges have shown up. The judges need to show up, and they're showing up, and good for them. I'm glad they're showing up. I'm not saying these Venezuelans should not have due process. I'm not saying that Mahmoud Khalid shouldn't have due process. But at the end of the day, this has always been the power of the presidency. I'm going to leave you with one thing. I wrote a column, I just dug it up, about a case in 2009. Okay, now who was president? Let me see. Barack Obama was president during 2009. Mm-hmm. His administration deported a 62-year-old California man named Jorge Aguilar, who had a green card. He had a green card. And he was deported, and I wrote a column about it at the time, and nobody said boo about it. And what I said this morning on my commentary on Spectrum News 1 stands, I have had it up to my eyeballs with the hypocrisy of the left, who all of a sudden, these civil libertarians, these academics, these liberal media types have discovered the immigration issue. They've woken up. They realize that they care about immigration after all, having turned a blind eye to all the abuses committed under Democrat presidents. All I can say is, I hope you enjoyed your siesta. I hope you're rested because it's time to get to work.
Well, no argument for me about Obama. He has been regarded, and the data points it out, as the deporter-in-chief. Donald Trump has a long way to go to beat Barack Obama's numbers. That's a fact. You might want to hear it, but he got a long way to go. Trump does to catch, much less surpass, Barack Obama's numbers. We shall see. So no argument for me on that point, Ruben. I got a minute to go. Let me just circle back right quick to Mr. Mahmoud Khalil and your commentary about that. And here's my quick question. We ain't got time to debate it. I disagree. The audience knows it, and they've heard me opine on this already. But here's my quick question. You don't really see this pushback on Mr. Khalil, the professor at Brown, et cetera, et cetera. This is Donald Trump trying to tamp down on dissent, tamp down on free speech. You don't see that, Ruben? You can't be that blind.
No, what he's trying to tamp down on is anti-Semitism, attacks on Israel
Ruben,
and Jews
come on, Ruben.
Hold on. No. The next time you have somebody take over a building, if you want to talk apples to apples, the next time a bunch of Mexicans go out and take over a building at Columbia and threaten Jews, you get back to me.
I've been trying for 30 years. I'm going to keep on trying. 30 years I've been trying.
Do not forget my brother. Do not forget. You're the one who wrote that awesome book on Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
Do not forget Martin Luther King wrote his letter from a Birmingham jail from within a jail cell. That's part of civil disobedience. You got to take responsibility and pay the price.
I'm all for paying the price for civil disobedience. Civil disobedience and free speech are two different things. I see it again as a tamp down on dissent and free speech. I digress for now. Ruben will do it again soon. All the best to you, my friend. Thank you for your time.
All right. I love you, brother. Take care.
Love
Bye-bye.
you back, man. Stay strong. More Tavis, Smiley when we come forward.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know with BIN News. Severe weather in the South and Midwest killed at least 42 people with 12 deaths in Missouri. The National Weather Service confirmed 34 tornadoes. The storm also impacted the Northeast and put 8 million people in the West under winter storm warning. Baltimore City will host an event this weekend called the Federal to Future Transition Expo. It's on Thursday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at New Psalmist Baptist Church, featuring public and private sector employees to help federal workers who lost their jobs. Target has reportedly dropped several black vendors amid the rollback of DEI initiatives, sparking calls for boycotts and protests. Kiara Imani, a TikTok user, highlighted the issue, noting her company, Like You Cards, was among those affected. And Arlington National Cemetery removed links to educational materials and notable graves of Black, Hispanic, and female veterans from its website following orders from the Trump administration. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
UCLA and USC are two of the four number one seeds in the NCAA women's basketball tournament. The other two number one seeds, South Carolina and Texas. First game for UCLA is Friday at Pauley Pavilion against UC San Diego or Southern University. They meet up Wednesday in a play-in game. Southern is one of two HBCU schools in the NCAA women's tournament. The other is Norfolk State. First game for USC is Saturday at noon at the Galen Center against North Carolina Greensboro. UCLA also has a team in the NCAA men's basketball tournament. The Bruins, a number 7 seed in the Midwest Regional, play Utah State Thursday night in Lexington, Kentucky. The Lakers snapped their 4-game losing streak Sunday. They beat Phoenix 106-97. The Clippers are 6-1 in their last 7 games after beating Charlotte 123-88, 31 points and 7 assists for James Harden. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
A new day is on the horizon. Behind every great moment in history, there's a woman whose story went untold. This March on KBLA Talk 1580, we're bringing those hidden narratives to light. Hear extraordinary stories of women who transformed science, politics, arts, and community. Women you've never heard of, but should know. Celebrating Women's History Month on KBLA Talk 1580, where every story matters.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text ROCK to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text ROCK to 42424. That's ROCK to 42424.
The revolution will not be televised.
What's up? It is Killer Mike, also known as Michael Render, and I'm encouraging you to listen to more, not less, of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Senator Nina Turner on KBLA Talk 1580.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and U.S. Congresswoman Janelle Bynum. I'm honored to have her on this program. She is the first African-American to represent Oregon in Congress, and I am delighted to have her on. Before I get to her, there is some breaking news. We've been talking in this show today about Chuck Schumer. I quote from the Associated Press. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer is postponing several planned events this week to promote his new book, Anti-Semitism in America, a warning, after some liberal groups had planned to stage protest. The cancellation of events in Baltimore, Washington, D.C., and other cities came amid widespread criticism from the party's liberal base over Schumer's vote to move forward with Republican spending legislation last week. Risa Heller, a representative for Schumer's book, said the tour would be rescheduled due to security concerns. Chuck Schumer is taking it on the chin. He's going to take it on the chin for the foreseeable future, given what happened last week. We started our program an hour and a half ago, making it abundantly clear that Democrats all across the country are disappointed, if not upset, with Chuck Schumer for the way he showed up last Friday doing a 180. And here's the thing for me, and I didn't get a chance to say this earlier. I want to get straight to the Congresswoman. On this program last week, we talked about the fact that Democrats were holding firm. Chuck Schumer publicly said, we ain't going for it. We're not going to support it. And then 24 hours later, he does a 180. It would have been better to have not said anything at all if that's how you were going to show up on Friday. But you say one thing on Thursday, 24 hours later you show up, do something totally different, and you wonder why people are protesting Chuck Schumer to the point where he now has to cancel his public events over security concerns. And I'm not calling for any harm to come to Chuck Schumer. But Chuck Schumer asked for this. He walked right into this, chin up, booty out. He walked right into it. I digress for now. Congresswoman Bynum, good to have you on this program. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Did I say something funny?
I put out a tweet and I said I felt like Chuck Schumer should have been out here with us snatching wigs.
Yeah.
And that is, and sometimes, like, not all the time, it's a team sport, right?
Yeah.
Like, so House D's stuck together. We needed Senate D's to stick with us because that's how we got this foolishness of a Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Who let Trump do whatever he wanted to do because Mitch McConnell was gang and held everybody together.
Yeah.
So,
let me follow you. How does it feel being a House D, a House Democrat, and showing up the way you all showed up, pushing back on this? Y'all stuck together, and then you get basically, the Senate Democrats just let you down. I mean, how does that feel today, being a House Democrat who did the right thing?
Well, I come from the state legislature, 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things we started to get really good at was working together intentionally ahead of time with Senate Democrats. And so, in politics, you get used to being let down. And you got to dust yourself off and get up the next morning. Like, that's typically how it goes. So I'm not surprised. Was I disappointed? Yeah. But I also think, like, okay, for next time, y'all need to be coordinated and we need to be gang.
Yeah. What does this implosion, as it were, this fractured Democratic opposition to Donald Trump, what message does that send to Democratic voters?
We still have a ways to go in getting unified about how we want to take the party and the country in a different direction. And I think every day when I go into the Capitol, I think this is an opportunity for new leadership to develop, to get their wings, and to push forward. I feel like we are experiencing a changing of the guard, and I hope that it is peaceful. But it might not be.
Yeah.
I mean, you heard people talking about primarying. I mean, that's rough talk.
Yeah. What does this portend, this decision? I want to just be clear that this is a decision by Chuck Schumer that I and others vehemently disagree with. Nancy Pelosi, AOC, Janelle Bynum, there's a long list of folk who disagree with the way Chuck Schumer showed up on Friday. But as I said earlier, he is the minority leader. And if this is the way that he's going to lead in the coming days and weeks and months, which is to acquiesce to Donald Trump, born of his institutionalist values, we're in trouble. So what does this say to you about the future? Are you willing to just, to see this and to allow Chuck Schumer this one mistake, as it were?
Here's how I see it.
Right.
In politics, you and I can be looking at the same piece of pie and see something totally different. And so the goal is to not see things differently at the last minute. And so what I think it does is open up an opportunity for way more discipline and respect to go both ways between the two chambers. I saw something different from what Chuck Schumer saw.
Yeah.
I don't know what ghost he saw, but we saw something completely different. So we got to move forward and we got to work together. And I think that he'll be talking with Leader Jeffries a whole lot more because Democrats can't really afford this again.
Yeah. See, the thing is, I hear that argument, Congresswoman Bynum, and I don't disagree with you, but let's just call it what it is. It ain't like Chuck Schumer didn't know what Hakeem Jeffries had done in the House. He saw the move. He knew it was up. He went that way for whatever reasons he went that way. And I don't know that a bunch of conversation, I don't know that increasing communication, talking more often changes anything. Chuck Schumer was not stuck on stupid. He was abundantly clear how the House moved, and he just moved differently. And now he's having to cancel public events over security concerns because folk are going to show up and protest him. You dish it, you got to be able to take it, and now you want to run and hide. And so I don't like that either. I don't like that at all, that you did what you did on Friday, and now you want to cancel all your public events so folk don't get access to you. That's cowardly in my book. I digress on that for now. How does Janelle Bynum become the first black woman to represent Oregon in Congress, Congresswoman?
Bravely.
Yeah.
I'm the first black woman from Clackamas County. I serve a purple district. I served it for 8 years. I'm serving one now. I always focus on economics, period. High quality of life. So what does that mean? When you need to go to the doctor's office, there's a plethora of doctors right around the corner. There's a working hospital, functioning hospital. There's jobs for when your kids, start age 15, 16, hiring our young people so they have job skills, making sure you have excellent schools, taking them to task when they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So for me, it's been about those kind of middle of the road issues that everybody can agree on, and then working them like crazy.
She's Janelle Bynum, Congresswoman Janelle Bynum. I am Tavis Smiley. More of our conversation when we come forward.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Do you enjoy fatty foods, sweets, and alcohol? Who doesn't? Unfortunately, all those things put a lot of pressure on our liver. That's why pharmacist, best-selling author, and nutritional expert Sherry Torkos recommends Active Liver from New Nordic.
The liver is an incredible organ. It works non-stop to process toxins and chemicals from our food and drinks, medications we take, and even environmental exposures. As a health expert, I'm often asked how to support the liver's natural detoxification process and offset the effects of fatty foods, sugar, and alcohol. I recommend Active Liver by New Nordic. This gentle plant-based supplement is an effective way to support your liver's vital functions as well as your energy and overall well-being.
With its powerful blend of turmeric, milk thistle, and globe artichoke extract, Active Liver is the perfect way to keep your liver healthy and you feeling your best. Active Liver is available in both a delicious gummy or tablet. You can find Active Liver in the vitamin aisle at your local CVS or online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Made fresh daily in Leimert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Congresswoman Janelle Bynum, who I rock with, not just because she's a congresswoman, but also because she's a small business owner, as am I. And I am concerned about small business owners all across this country. In this moment that we find ourselves, your point earlier was that you always lead with economics. That's how you got elected. That's how you became a history maker out of Oregon as a black woman in the U.S. House. So you always lead with economics. How concerned are you then about African-American and other small business owners and how they navigate the tumult of these times?
You know, it's real. Being able to get a bank loan, staying bankable, having enough cash to pay your payroll, all of those things matter. And I think the attack on DEI, you know, I wonder, I'm like, what are you afraid of? Don't you want a good, you know, oxtail dinner from down the street in your community? Don't you want great places to get your hair cut? Like, and more than that, don't you want great businesses like Calendly that, you know, started as black-owned businesses? Like, don't you want the diversity and the creativity of everybody in this country? And so when you cut those off, you cut off the talent pool. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that that's healthy for our economy.
Yeah. What is the long-term impact? I'm going to follow you here. What is the long-term impact, as you put it, of our cutting off the talent pool? That's exactly what's happening. What's the impact of that long-term, though?
Well, our country's economy doesn't grow at the rate that it could. I mean, if you want to think about it from kind of the academic perspective. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, I feel like I want thriving communities. I want everybody to do well. I want everybody to be able to go to the store and buy what they want when they want. And that reduces, to be honest with you, like from a legislative perspective, that reduces people's reliance on the government. And it reduces their need to, in my opinion, eat out of people's hands who, you know, those government people that give out grants and want to make you feel like they've done you a great service. I don't like to have to need anything from anyone. I like the autonomy that I have when I have enough money in the bank and I can feed my kids and send them to college. I think everybody deserves that feeling. Mm-hmm. That's what we should be working towards.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier that you represent a purple district, which is always fascinating for me because obviously when we talk politics in this country, we talk about red states and blue states. Here you are representing a purple district. What is the message to the Democratic Party? We started this conversation earlier talking about this fracture between Chuck Schumer and Democrats right now. What is the message that needs to be heard by the Democratic Party from a person like you who's representing a purple district?
So first of all, it's purple and it's 0.9% black. Mm-hmm. So Just put that there.
Yeah.
I think the message is, number one, you have to be able to hear things you're not used to hearing. And you can't get defensive about it. Number two, you have to focus on economics. I think there was a proposal out now that if you earn less than $150,000, you don't pay any taxes. That, a number of people, I had 2 town halls yesterday in person. A number of people mentioned that to me. They're trying to figure out how they can get better off economically, and that has to be the Democrats' message. People were lured into Trump with egg prices. What that really was a metaphor for, I need for my life to get better. I need money in the bank. I can't keep struggling.
I want to hear from Congresswoman Bynum when we come forward more about what she's hearing in these town halls. You heard her say she had 2 yesterday. I'm curious as to what she's hearing from everyday people in this purple district. I also want to take her temperature on whether or not she thinks it's good strategy for Democrats to be doing this listening tour. It may be, but that's their response. It's not as robust a response as I'd like. But that's what they're doing. They're going to run around the country and do these listening tours and do these town halls. But I'm curious as to what she heard yesterday and what she thinks Democrats might hear in the days and weeks ahead as they do their sort of listening tour. Our remaining moments with U.S. Congresswoman Janelle Bynum of Oregon when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like
Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer lets you easily compare direct rates from different insurance companies, so you can be confident you're getting the right one, even if it's not with Progressive. Way more confident than you were when you bought that TV in a parking lot. It just happened to not come in a box, or include a remote. And when you finally managed to turn it on, all it displayed was the menu of Grumpy's Tacos. So use Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer and be confident you're getting insurance that's right for you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada. Member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cow Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and U.S. Congresswoman Janelle Bynum, history maker out of Oregon, representing Oregon in the House, and delighted to have her on for these next 4 minutes. So tell me a bit more, Congresswoman, about what you heard yesterday in these two town halls that you had, and then we'll talk about this Democrat Party listening tour in a moment here.
One of the ways I first won was because I went door to door, and people told me, you know what, I'm so happy to see you. You know, a lot of people weren't happy, but a lot of people were. And they said, nobody's ever asked me what I thought. Nobody's been to my door. And so yesterday in the town hall, I opened it up. I said, you know, I want to hear from everybody. Even though it's 1/3 Democrat, 1/3 Republican, 1/3 independent, it was really important for me to open up that door to say, I need to hear what you have to say, and it can't necessarily be what I'm always used to hearing. And I think these, like, listening tours, you can't invite the same people and give it just a rally. Like, that's not good enough. You need to hear what's actually happening. So I had two young people. They were like, when I came here, you know, I didn't have a good impression of you. I'm a Republican. I was like, oh, yeah, because I went through some brutal campaigns. And they said, but you know what? After listening to you and hearing how you felt about young people, I talked about apartments. Like, our apartments are $1,600, $2,500 here. How do you expect young people to ever move out on their own if that's what they have to pay? That didn't even make sense. So that's what I'm hearing. Like, you just have to be open to hearing things that you are not normally open to hearing. Yeah. That's what they want to know, that you care.
That brings this conversation full circle in the 2 minutes I have left here. So I started this program almost 2 hours ago saying a number of things about Chuck Schumer, not the least of which is that he's tone deaf. He was just completely out of touch with his base, completely out of touch with Democratic voters, and that's why he's catching it right now, because he made a decision that Democrats are just not down with. So here's my question. You do the listening tour, and after the listening tour, then what if you're going to continue to move in ways that are not in alignment with what Democrat voters want?
My thing is always put something on the table. So if you call yourself a lawmaker, put a bill on the table, put your idea on the table, give people some meat to eat off of. And I think a lot of times, right now, people want us to be activists. And that's okay in certain situations. But to me, the activism is putting the bills on the table and making sure that we push back on Republicans who are putting crazy stuff on the table. Like, what's your alternative? That's the real question. You don't like what Trump puts on the table, put an alternative on the table. And I think that's what made people so furious, was that we did have an alternative. And Schumer dismissed it.
My exit question is this. What does this moment portend for the midterms?
Oh, it's going to be...
She giggles. I love it. I love it.
Finally, people will understand what the numbers mean. Democrats cannot do anything if you don't have 217 votes.
That's right.
So that whole vote couch thing, I hope you get up and vote this time. That whole Trump is going to save us, he's going to be better for the economy, 217. That's what Democrats need to take back the House. I was one of those votes. We were hoping to get to that level, but didn't happen. I think people understand the math now.
She is Oregon's first black member of Congress, making history and putting stuff on the table, as she did in the State House there in Oregon, and I ain't mad at her. Congresswoman, good to have you on. We'll do it again somewhere down the road. Thank you for your time, and congratulations.
All right. Be well. Thank you.
Stay strong. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know with BIN News. Severe weather in the South and Midwest killed at least 42 people. Baltimore City will host an event this weekend called the Federal to Future Transition Expo. It's on Thursday.